Okay, so part two, we are going to talk about the ancestors to the Homo sapiens sapiens, which is what we are for the most part. We have a little bit of Neanderthal in us. Okay, so the very first of our ancestors were hominids. Hominids were human-like and they walked upright. These were first seen in Africa. The very first hominids were in Africa, and then most archaeologists believe that they spread out from Africa from there. Now, Lewis and Mary Leakey are the best known for studying them. They found a series of bones. They called these bones Lucy. It was a female. She stood about 3.5 feet tall, and she's one of the very first ancestors that we believe walked upright, but she still had the very long arms. If you look at these people right here, they have very, very long arms. What do you think those long arms are from? Well, they're from hanging from trees because the ancestors were originally trees, basically monkeys, primates, that kind of thing. And then they came down, they began to walk on the earth. So they no longer needed the long arms for climbing the trees. And so the arms that we have are much shorter. Okay. So next slide. And like I said, if you haven't taken all of the notes for this slide, just wait. Pause the video and you can catch up. Okay, so other types of hominids. You have the Homo habilis, which is the handy human. They use stone tools. How do we know they use stone tools if we don't have any writing? Well, we found the stone tools near their bodies, and we carbon dated them. We know that they were done around the same time period. Now, the Homo habilis is actually younger than the Homo erectus, but it was found later. So Homo erectus is upright humans, so they supposedly were the first to walk upright, or so we thought. But like I said, the Homo habilis are actually older than the Homo erectus. It's just that the bones of the Homo erectus were found before the Homo habilis. Now, the Homo erectus, that means upright human. They had arms and legs like a modern human, so they have shrunk, so because they're no longer climbing the trees. We also know that the Homo erectus were the first to use fire, and fire was actually invented or discovered around 1 million years ago. So it was a long time ago. But fire, think about how fire is going to change your life. Not only are you going to be able to eat healthier because you're not eating things with a whole bunch of maggots and diseases and things like that in it, but fire also helps keep away animals and other things like that at night when you're sleeping and you can't defend yourself from them. So these are very, very important things. Okay, I'm going to the next slide. If you have to, pause it. All right, now Homo sapiens literally means wise humans, and there are two different types. The first are Neanderthals. Now, Neanderthals used stone tools. We know that. They had clothes of animal skin, and when you think about it, that in itself isn't easy. How do we put all of our clothes together? We have a needle. These people didn't have needles. So how did they get their clothes? They basically put holes in the middle of something and wore them over as drapes. It's not until about 20,000 years ago that we are actually going to develop needles and be able to sew them together. We know that they buried their dead also. Most archaeologists believe that burying their dead means that they had some kind of a spiritual life, some type of a religious significance to that. The Homo sapiens sapiens, they have anatomies like a modern human, and they are basically where we came from. Now, what's interesting is that since we've discovered DNA, we realize that especially Europeans have quite a bit of Neanderthal in them as well, that the two mated, and we still have some Neanderthal DNA as well as the other. So I only have 30 seconds left, so I'm going to go through the next ones quickly. Paleolithic age is the early human age. Things you need to know: hunting and gathering. They were nomads because they followed the animal migration. They used stone tools. Your book argues that men and women were probably more equal because they were both responsible for getting food, and then the housing, caves, wood, mammal bones covered in hide, and they